Buy Now, Pay Later, or BNPL, is going to be a generation-defining acronym. Since this new financing option has come into the mainstream, we have seen a frightening increase in debt levels, not surprisingly, within more youthful demographics. And this is what is really brutal about this new fintech development, is that it seems to be strategically targeted at poor people, and in particular, poor Gen Zs and millennials. One of the foundational milestones of the BNPL movement was Klarna's partnership with DoorDash, giving people the option to finance their Chipotle burrito. And while that felt kind of dystopian, we now have legacy players launching their own versions. And there are new fintech products every other day, it seems, that you can't talk about without sounding like you're speaking some other language. We've got Futu, we got Zip-A, which is, we're gonna reject all of those. We got frickin' Moo, but today we're going to be talking about a company called Built, which is a credit card and an app that makes the whole rent-paying experience even worse by making it more complicated than it needs to be. And BNPL options are now being integrated into basically everything, including online gaming, so you can finance your next Fortnite skin into 4 equal payments. While we were researching this, we found a company that allows you to gamble on your debts. This is crazy. This is their tagline: enjoy life's moments without the shadow of regret. Gamble on the debt you've already acquired so that you don't have any regrets. Why would you have any regrets when you gamble on your debts? So you know what? I guess America is great again, because it has never been easier to ruin yourself financially. It is an absolute nightmare out there, folks. It is very disturbing and dystopian, but today we're going to be breaking it down, so hopefully you don't fall victim to it. So right off the bat, we gotta clarify, of course, I'm not a financial planner. This is not financial advice. I'm not working in the financial sector. None of this is official, okay? I'm going to be talking about the terrifying new financial reality that we live in and how it might be affecting people. When Buy Now, Pay Later first made its big splash, it was seen as a recession indicator. Everyone was sort of cry-laughing about how dumb it was that people in 2026 were going to be going bankrupt over their DoorDash orders. And we were sort of laughing nervously before, and now we're crying, because that's pretty well exactly what's happening. We can't say that the rise in bankruptcies is directly connected to the fact that lots of BNPL users have multiple loans happening at the same time, and that almost half of them are missing payments at least once a year, but we could say that it's not helping. And the thing is, BNPL is just one version of a growing trend that we see happening across the financial world, which is the gamification of our money. Under this umbrella, I would put things like gambling apps, crypto apps, prediction market apps, but also Buy Now, Pay Later apps, and Built, which is an app that we're going to be talking about later. But I do have to clarify that this is not really a new idea. We've been primed for this by credit cards, which normalized a credit-based rewards system. The premise being that simply spending the money that you have in savings wasn't enough. You needed to spend your money with this particular product to earn points, or to potentially win some more money, or to simply not have to pay the money right now. And while each sort of seems like a valid solution to our financial problems in one way or another, it almost always ends up being a cash cow for the companies that pioneer them. This is proven by the sheer number of these companies popping up nowadays, and the seed funding and valuations that these new companies get at launch. Like not even when they've been proven to be useful for a demographic of people. And one of the weirder concepts in this spectrum that is gaining popularity at a disturbing rate is a product called Built. Something that Amanda knows a thing or two about.
Specifically with Built, you recently talked about this service that you personally have used for years, and I didn't even know the beginning of it. So can you kind of just give us like a brief breakdown for those who don't know what it actually is?
Yeah, so Built in its inception, like what the sales pitch was at the beginning, was that this was a way for you to pay your rent with a credit card. And it was sold as a way to help build your credit without fees, basically, because you can pay your rent. Most rent processors will accept a credit card, but there usually is like a processing fee on top of it. And so you're paying more for your rent than you normally would be. But for a lot of people, using a credit card to pay your rent is a necessary evil so you can make sure you have a roof over your head. So I got first on Built in 2022 after I'd been in LA for about a year. And it was just like my building was like, hey, here's this great new thing. I didn't have the credit card at first. I was just using it. It was still ACH, like pulling out of my bank account. But then they always kept pitching it as, well, you can get more points. Like you can earn points if you use our credit card. You can get the Built credit card to pay your rent. And then you have your line of credit and that's how you pay your rent. And then you'll get the exact amount in points as your rent versus like the max is like 250 points. So you can still get points from using your regular bank account to pay your rent. But that was like the draw of like, well, you're already getting points. You want more, don't you? And I was really into credit card hacking at the time.
What do the points do? Where do the points go?
It's the same thing as like, credit card points. Like their whole thing was like, yeah, you can actually use your points to take some money off your rent.
Okay, so this genuinely boggled my mind, so let me try and get the details straight for you. Built was originally an app that allowed you to pay rent and get points in the process. Because you're spending all this money every single month on your rent, you might as well get some sort of value for that payment every single month and increase your credit score along the way, right? Well, there's been a lot of drama around the recently released update and credit cards, which we're going to talk about in a sec. But the whole premise of this product was that you got points that you could then redeem for other things. And this seems kind of harmless, right? Off the top, until Amanda told us how many points she had gathered over the years of using this app.
Yeah, I can pull up what my thing is right now because my current building is still on Built. Yeah, I have 5,000 points from just a couple of years of paying rent now. So I think I could get $26 off my rent next month if I wanted to with the points that I currently have.
Okay, and now listen, I gotta have a little tangent here. And the tangent is very much related to the story because the whole points concept drives me crazy. This is not a new idea, as I mentioned. Point-based reward systems for credit cards is kind of old news, but the points are the sort of birthplace of this modern gamified financial world that we live in today. We made a whole video about credit cards in the past. I'm not going to reiterate too much of that, but this is what you've really got to understand. Any kind of points or reward system that is built into one of these financial services is not there to benefit you as a consumer. It is there to gamify the buying experience so that you use their services instead of something else. Because they know that the more that you use their card, the more likely you are to spend more than you usually spend, and the higher likelihood that you are going to miss a payment or pay a fee for their service. Yes, there are credit card point professionals who dedicate a disturbing amount of their lives to hacking the point system or traveling for free or whatever, but they are the outlier and they are weird. I think we should they're weird. Find a better hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, f***ing go for a walk. Like, look at this guy's setup. Like, do you aspire to be like this man? Is this your North Star? He's got a whole bunch of links here. You're telling me that he's not getting some sort of referral code from this? My wife and I amassed over 1.7 million points and miles to travel 6 months through Europe and Asia without draining our life savings. It shouldn't be this hard to operate normally in the world. You have to watch a 43-minute long documentary about how to friggin' travel with points. The reality is you are not going to dedicate the part-time job worth of mental gymnastics to try and figure out how to get those points. And the credit card companies know this. Do you think that they would design an elaborate financial game system with a deliberately confusing point structure and equally confusing selection of rewards and lose money? They have hired a very expensive team of designers and developers to make sure that you never win and that they do. It is literally like going into a casino and thinking that you've got the jump on the house. Anyways, the second thing that Built apparently helped people do was strengthen their credit score, but they couldn't even do that.
I had the credit card when Built swapped over the credit cards at the end of 2024 because Wells Fargo handles Built's processing. And Wells Fargo was pissed because they thought that this was like a profit deal for them. They thought that doing the credit cards for Built would lead to people carrying a balance and then they could rake in fees. However, a lot of people were using the cards to get the points and then paying off the balance immediately because they already had the money for their rent.
Which is terrible.
For them, it's terrible. So they were like, so there was this whole new card that was coming out. And so what they did, even if you had the credit card already, they reran your credit. I had a really high use for my other credit
Okay.
card. So they were like, we're not going to approve you for the new card. So they closed that card. I also had my credit card information through Built stolen. So I called them and I was like, hey, what's the deal? And they were already going to close the account like on the 31st of December. They were like, oh, do you just want to close the card now? And then we don't have to worry about like resetting you a new one. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. That makes sense. Like you guys are going to close it, might as well. And they didn't tell me that when they closed it, it would change how I could pay the remaining balance because I still had the balance from like a previous month on there. And so I couldn't pay the card the way I had been paying the card for like 2-3 years. I ended up able to get it paid, but it was an extra like $20 of interest that I had to pay on top of it. I was more annoyed that I had a missed payment on my credit score for a little bit, frankly, than the $20 itself. It was frustrating because it was truly exhibiting like, yeah, these are not financial companies. These are like tech companies that are masquerading as financial companies. And there's all these shenanigans within that you don't realize until you try to sever yourself from them.
So now, basically, the whole reason for why people signed up for Built in the first place is gone. Because in their latest rollout of Built 2.0, you can't actually even use the credit card to pay the rent if you needed to. You don't actually pay your rent or mortgage with the Built card. Even though on the website it says, make housing payments with no transaction fee. That's literally not how it works. But it's not even just that they make this stupid claim that isn't real. Even if you do pay your rent with a credit card, you're paying a 3% fee to do so, apparently. But there is a caveat here that you can offset that fee by opting out of receiving points for the transaction, but maybe that doesn't work. Listen, we're not the only ones who are confused by this entire system. This NerdWallet article actually does a pretty good job of tearing them apart. And while I love a good takedown, it just feels like they're not even trying to make it good. They not only have a point system, but they have a built cash option as well. And they even say in this article, they're like, there are 2 complicated ways to earn rewards. Like apparently you can use Built Cash to cover that 3% transaction fee for your rent, which you wouldn't have had to pay if you weren't using the service to get the points for it in the first place. But believe it or not, it actually gets more confusing than this because they offer 3 cards. Built Blue, which is obviously like the loser card, 0 annual fee. Built Obsidian, which is a $95 annual fee, or Built Palladium, which is, I don't even know what Palladium is, $495 a year to fucking pay your rent with a credit card, bro. What? But they have these 3 different cards that all have different point/cash reward systems. They're all at different prices. And even with this third-party breakdown, it's extremely hard to follow. So you pay money for a special card that gets you certain points so that you can do what? What can you do? Go to a hotel? But sorry, the hotel perk doesn't even fully work because you're only allowed to use $50 of it at a time. It's so unnecessary. Like you can redeem points for like a Lyft ride, but there's a cap on how much you can use at one time, and you earn different amounts for different kinds of purchases. And then get this, only $100 of your Built Cash rolls over year to year. So if you forget about it, because I don't know, you've got other stuff going on, you just lose all that money. But I need you to remember that this is all on purpose. It's confusing and illogical because that makes it all the more likely that you will fail to follow through on all the steps required to reap the benefits of the product that they supposedly offer. And look, this is hilarious in a frustrating we live in a dystopia kind of way, but at least you can take comfort in the fact that this service is only in LA, right? Surely this unhelpful and predatory service isn't taking over the entire country, right?
I want to interject because we've been asking like how Universal is built. Is it just an LA thing or whatever? To answer your question, apparently Built powers rental payments in 25% of US apartment buildings.
That's massive.
That's crazy.
Is that millions? Are we talking about that's millions?
Oh yeah. That's gotta be millions.
Like,
that's 90% of millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah. Hey everybody, just popping in to say, oh, it's Lou. Hi.
Hey everybody.
Hey guys.
Hey everybody.
Hey guys.
Hi everybody, it's Lou. I am the channel's producer and Levi is making me go through the public humiliation ritual that is recording the ad read for the Patreon, so let's get into it. For 1 week only, the Patreon is going from a $5 tier to a $3 tier. Over there, you can get access to our exclusive Discord channel, as well as early access to videos and bonus content such as interviews like the one that you're seeing, behind the scenes clips, and more.
Should I say anything else? God, what should I say? Back to you. Countdown.
And this is just a reality that we have to reconcile now. We have become socially accepting of this kind of scam because we've lived with it for so long that it just feels kind of normal. So I made a reel over on Instagram the other week about using cash. My wife and I have started doing this thing where every month we take out $500 in cash at the beginning of the month to sort of supplement our purchasing habits from plastic and digital payment options. The whole idea is to diversify the way that we pay for things, to eliminate some of those middlemen and put cash back into our community. And a lot of people had a lot of beef with cash specifically. Like, we have socialized and normalized credit as a way to pay for basically anything. Now we think that paying for things with the money that we actually have is cumbersome and annoying and weird in comparison to paying for stuff with money that we don't. And as one comment said, like, what about our credit scores? Like, you gotta build your credit scores. But that's weird too. We've built a stupidly complex financial system that has made using a credit card almost a necessity, right? You need to have a good credit score, right? Which means that we live in a world that assumes that the need to acquire debt is normal, and you should be constantly acquiring debt and paying off that debt to prove that you can take on even more debt at a later time. And we've normalized the middleman in every single one of our transactions. A lot of people don't understand that every time that you use a credit card for something, there's a 2 to 3% fee that is being taken by Visa or MasterCard. And a lot of people love to point out that this cost is being eaten by the businesses that you're buying from, except when they're not. In both the US and Canada, companies are allowed to surcharge on credit card transactions to offset that expense. And this is the thing, even if you're not paying for it with a surcharge, that company is now paying 2 to 3% more every single time that somebody pays with a credit card. So that cost is eventually going to trickle down to the consumer in one way or another. And look, there's a lot of layers to it. It could be a whole other video at this point. But we are not only in a spot where these apps and reward programs are considered normal, these sketchy financing options are becoming almost a necessity for some people because our version of capitalism is just a nightmare. And this silly, silly world of crypto and sports betting and prediction markets and buy now, pay later just means that more insane stuff is considered less crazy by comparison. Like, we found this app called Covered, which allows you to gamble on the debt you've already accumulated.
This is a thing we found called Covered. Paying bills made fun. Basically, the idea is that you gamble on the debt that you have already acquired. You track your purchases and then you have the chance to win them back. It combines credit and buy now, pay later with gambling. In one app.
And it is like an actual slot machine app.
The
There's
yellow
no pretense
of
of it
the
not
just
being gambling.
exhausted my eyeballs.
Their slogan is up to 100% cash back, which doesn't feel legal. But they can market themselves that way because you're gambling.
Did you guys ever hear about Yada? Did you guys ever talk about Yada?
No.
No.
So
tell me.
Yada was something that was promoted by a handful of YouTubers. I had an account with them, and what it was a savings account. And when you put money into it, you could like win a percentage. It was almost like gambling, but not. But it was like putting money into your account every time that you put money into your account for your savings account. It wasn't like a credit card, it was a savings account. You would get entries into like that drawing of the week and you could win, but also every time you used your debit card from that account or the Yada card from the account, you could potentially win your purchase refunded. So they would cover the entirety of your purchase. So that was the start. However, they did turn it into a full-on casino app style gambling app. So people already had their money in the accounts. So they were the app. Then they had a middleman processor. Then they had a bank that actually held everyone's money.
Wow.
Something glitched with the middleman processor. So everyone's money got stuck. for months. And there was this whole liquidation and shutdown.
Yada walked so covered could run.
Basically is what it sounds like.
So Yada would let you gamble on your savings. The only difference would be that Covered lets you gamble on your debt, which I guess fits because everybody's in debt and nobody has savings, which
None
is
of
why
us
this
Oh,
is
God,
probably
dude.
the success
It's
It's
story
a
that
natural
Yada couldn't
progression of
be.
things.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at the end of the video, but here's my pitch. Read the fine print. I know we skip that sort of stuff all the time, and we just use the card of the app without thinking about it at all. But at the very least, we got to try and be informed here, guys. I am also saying that, hey, cash is very real. It is a tangible way for you to relate better to your spending habits. As I've been doing it now for a couple of months, I don't think I realized how many times I was tapping my card without even looking at the number on the screen that I was paying for. I think there is genuinely a lot of people out there that are using these services without even thinking about it. Like without even doing a cost-benefit analysis of what the ramifications might be of using these things. We've slipped into this new reality where a lot of people are out there doom spending. We're doom scrolling and we're doom spending at the same time. And it's this sort of nihilistic way of looking at the world where like, hey, it doesn't matter. The world's crumbling and falling apart, so I'll just spend the money I don't have. Like it doesn't matter. But please, it does matter. This will ruin your life if you let it. Before figuratively and literally gambling your money away, take some time to actually figure out if the rewards are truly worth the risks. And maybe even, oh my God, consult a financial advisor if you're feeling unsure about anything along the way. Once again, we have the full conversation that we had with Amanda over on Patreon. It's a very interesting conversation. She has a lot more real world experience with these things, so maybe you can commiserate with her if you find yourself down this rabbit hole. And yeah, support us on Patreon if you want to see more of these videos and you want to keep us out of the debt cycle that we could potentially end up in if we don't pay our bills. Much love to you all. Either way, thank you for being here every single week. We'll see you next week for another episode.
YouTube collabs are so uncommon these days. It does feel like a little bit we're in old YouTube.
Yeah, well, I was telling, him in the email, I was like, yeah, I really don't do those because I remember the era of YouTube where you could tell everyone doing collabs like would not be talking if the record button wasn't hit.
That does
We're
make
also
sense.
not very LA. We're not very LA influencers.
I think we
feel like
could
Same.
challenge videos together, maybe, like if we wanted to do.